Hey, I'm Shelby, a ceramic artist in Australia. Last week I opened and revealed 15 mystery mug molds, and I'm using your comments this week and your ideas to decorate each one of them. Each one of these mugs is going to be going into my new project, which is Paint Your Own Pottery at the Pottage, which will be located in Ballarat, and I'll also be pouring some of these mugs up so that you can paint them in-house as well. So let's get into it and see what ideas you have chosen for me to paint each and every one of these mugs. The first mug of this series is this shape. It's similar to a sailor style mug where it's got a larger, wider base with a narrower top, but it's also kind of similar to a curved belly mug. This one had the most mixed responses. So many people wanted so many different designs, and I think it's because it's such a versatile shape that it lends itself to just about anything. A lot of people said something like a honey pot, or even just adding a lot of different colors and patterns. Now with mug number one, I didn't paint them in order, but I was probably nearly finished them all when I did this one. So I stuck with the comment of doing a 70s style pattern with stripes. So I combined the two together to get this retro bold stripe on this mug, and I think it lends itself well to the curvature of it. This one is really, really cute. I think I could have added a few more coats of underglaze to really get those colors opaque, but otherwise I think it's really cute. Next up we have mug number two. I really love this shape, and I was so glad when everyone suggested doing flowers. In particular, I decided to pick the comment to do tulips on these ones because I don't really do tulips all that often, and I really like the idea of layering underglaze colors, but not just layering them, but like layering the colors on my brush and then applying it so it had this really cool streaky blended texture like the textures of little petals. I mix different colors together and then layer the different petals in different colors to try and give it a bit of dimension. Sometimes when you paint with the same color, it can kind of blend into one and not give it much dimension, and I didn't really want to outline these. I just wanted to add texture, so I added the different colors to sort of give it that dynamic feel. Once all the petals were on, I went through and added all the green stalks. It was really satisfying and nice. And then these big leafy leaves, leafy leaves. But this one was really easy to pick something to do with because so many people said flowers. I love how this turned out. It's really dainty and delicate and perfect for sitting in a cottage flower garden and sipping some tea. Mug number three is one that I think will be the most popular for people to pick to paint, but also of my designs because of the large handle and the large volume size of this mug while still having a really lovely simple shape. Surprisingly, because of this, I don't know why, I didn't get many suggestions for this one, and I actually ended up not doing any of the suggestions because they were too similar to ones I'd done on all the other mugs. Instead, I decided to try and combine these ideas of doing bright, bold colors and did this little housescape with some hills in the background, and then I added a brown liner to do the details. I wanted this one to be just like a really bold inspiration piece because each mug I'm trying to make it really unique and different to be something that will inspire people in the space, but not just inspire them based off of my typical strength of style, but a variety of different versatile ideas that people can draw from. So this one was a really simple bold shape one that I think will be easy for people to take inspiration from and adapt it into their own style on their paint your own pottery pieces. I think that the colors really popped off. I would have liked to have chosen a blue that is more contrasty, as the blues kind of didn't contrast enough as I wanted them to because I used two different colors, but otherwise I love this one. It's really poppy and fun and not my typical go-to, but I think it'll be a really bright, fun, vibrant piece that people can draw a lot of inspiration from. We have mug 4 here, and thank you so much to everyone who corrected me that that is not a horseshoe. It's one of the horse lead things. Sorry about that. I just saw a horseshoe and just went country, and I'm not familiar with all the equipment, so thank you for correcting me on that one. I am taking inspiration from the comments that said to do basically a red and blue palette. For this one, because it already had the shapes in there and I was a little bit crunched for time, I decided to just do like a watercolory effect on the figures and items on the mug, and then I did this brown antique wash so that it had that real rustic country feel. I wanted to add some flowers in the background, but I was, really crunched for time, and this one I just felt like it didn't necessarily need them. Yes, it would have added to the design of this piece, but I think that it could be appreciated just as is, with like this beautiful like antique wash going into the wooden grooves and just letting it be a little bit more simple. I really held back on it, to be honest. I feel like I could have done a little bit of a better job of this one, particularly if I did add things in the background. It's definitely not my favorite, but I do feel like it does have a certain aesthetical place, and I think that some people will really like it because my taste is not everyone's taste. So I'm sure that there's people that really like how this one turned out, but particularly for me, I don't really like it and I wouldn't really go to pick it out, but I still am pretty happy with how that antiquing looks. It looks really aged and weathered, like it's been sitting in a barn for years. So I think that that's pretty cool. Mug number 5 was my absolute favorite. It's this tooled leather look, and I decided to draw from some comments asking for an ombre effect. So I am layering colors onto this mug and then blending them as they work down the mug. I then wanted to enhance those little details by doing an antique wash on it, but I was so scared to do brown that it would just take away this soft daintiness that I ended up doing a white antique, but I'm kind of really disappointed in how it looks. It's a little bit too soft and delicate for my liking, and it didn't help with the glaze firing either. It still looks really soft. I think with this one, I probably would have rather use a really nice blending glaze where it would nestle and settle in those crevices a little bit better than doing this ombre effect. I still like it, and I think I definitely need to do another one of these just to redeem myself and really highlight the beauty of this mug. I feel like I let it down, but it's still very cute of an ombre look. Mug 6, I was inundated with suggestions to do love hearts, so that's what we're going to do. The suggestions come from me acknowledging that the handle kind of looks like a love heart because of the little indents for your fingers to rest into. So I am taking that and rolling with it and adding these beating hearts on the mug, and then in the gaps adding a bunch of smaller little hearts, as well as painting the handle in a pink. I glazed that one up, and here's the finished result. I think this one was a no-brainer and a really sweet, simple design that is really easy to recreate in the pottage, and a delightful one that I'm excited to use and hold with those little finger indents. Last week, I told you how much I disliked this mug because of the handle shape and the shape of it. I had so many suggestions from people to do it as like a beer can, but I did a tin can on one of the other mugs, so I had to get a little bit more creative with the idea, and a number of people actually noticed that this kind of looked like a bookshelf with a ladder on the side. So that's what I'm doing. I'm adding this like a little bookshelf full of plants, trinkets, books, obviously, of all kinds of genres, and then I turned the handle into a rolling ladder as if it moves around the mug. Speaking of which, how cool would it be if I could do like some engineering to make that handle move so that you could actually like rotate it around the mug? Although that would be quite problematic if you were carrying it around and it was spilling everywhere. Anyway, I added all these really cool groovy houseplants, and honestly, this one I had the most fun painting. It was my least favorite mug shape, but my most favorite to create and paint. It was so fun exploring little books. Like I did one and it was like how to spell, but I spelled it incorrectly because you need the book to know how to spell. It was really cheeky. And also just adding some like little trinkets, and I did like a little kitten as well on there. I just love how this one turned out. I'm really shocked, and this is why this series was so exciting and thrilling for me, because I knew that what you guys would see would hopefully inspire me and see potential in things that I didn't see the potential in. I love the finished results. I think I'm gonna have to make some more of these to sell. It's just so gorgeous, and like I feel like this could definitely open up for potential for customs if I ever open those up, because people could request certain books on the shelf as well as certain trinkets and even their own pets. Oh, I just love it. So thank you so much to everyone that suggested a bookshelf. It's a great idea and it looks so cool. Mug 8 is a bit cheeky because it's more of a teacup and it kind of snuck into this video, but we're going to do it anyway. This one I am actually doing an experiment on, and I'm actually glazing it with some greens to enhance those petally leaves like they're little cabbages. I want to give an honorable mention to all the people that said the leaves look like little bottoms because they kind of do. It's so cheeky, and it's not done yet because I'm going to try out decals for the first time. I got a massive box of vintage decals. So decals are like a printed paper and you pop them in a overglaze firing like the gold luster. So what you do is you pop the little decals in the water. They're kind of like temporary tattoos in that way, and then the design will slide off the paper. You then slide this little plasticky design onto the piece and pop it in an additional firing, and the plastic kind of like melts away and only leaves the image. That's how I best explain it. That's probably like not the right way to explain it, but just for those that have never seen these before, it was so fun and really satisfying. I shared my decals in a live stream earlier this week and you guys helped me pick the ones for this teacup. We found some cute little fairies, some little flowers and some butterflies to add to this one. I'm really making it feel like this gorgeous little fairy garden. I really wanted to use these pieces as testers for these decals rather than my work that I'm going to sell. I feel like these are a great experiment in that way because I can really have a play and figure out what firing temperatures work for them. But I'm actually thinking that it would be a really cool workshop to actually do like a pre-glazed piece and you get to like collage the decals on there because we have so many. I got this huge box, like I purchased them, and it's full of like bears, dogs, dinosaurs, trinkets, all these different little images that I think would be a really fun workshop of like applying them, especially for people that don't feel like they have that artistic patience to paint something themselves. It's really cool. So to finish this piece off, it's a very big experiment because I've never done decals before. I added a gold rim as well just in case the decals burnt out in the firing. I got it out of the kiln and it is so magical. I am obsessed. I am so obsessed with decals now. Like I'm gonna use them all the time. They are so fun. Having this dainty little fairy garden of whimsy on this teacup was the perfect way to finish this piece, and I really like it and can't wait to use more decals. Mug 9 is our glorious big soup mug. A lot of you recognize this mug shape from Friends, Twin Peaks, even just a 90s pop culture reference, but so many of you said it had to be a soup mug, so that's what I'm doing. I'm taking influence from the soup mugs I had growing up, which had this orange, green, red, brown color aesthetic, and I'm using my vegetable screen prints to push through a brown screen print of the vegetables over the top of the colors. I wanted this one to be one of the ones that has the recipe on the side, and I have said that I was really tired. Like I really pushed myself to get all these different unique designs done in the week, and I didn't notice until it was too late that I spelt veggie wrong, and I realized a little bit too late in the process that I couldn't really change it, and I thought, you know what, this is fine. I'm actually going to leave it because now we all have an inside joke, and when you see the mug in person, you'll be like, I remember when you spelled that wrong. And I thought I'm going to leave it in there because people on the internet always love to tell you when you're wrong. So I'm just using it for a bit of a cheeky engagement thing. But I added my little soup recipe on there, and I feel like this mug is so sweet. It could adapt itself to so many different soup recipes, and even a workshop where people can come in and paint their favorite soup recipe on the mug. I do think that the brown washed out a little bit of the screen prints, but otherwise I think it's really sweet and it does have a really nice rustic charm. Mug number 10 is our sweet little pig mug eating corn, and I mentioned in the video that I thought it would be cool to do a space pig, and to be honest, a few of you kept telling me you've got to do that space pig, so that's what I'm doing. I start by doing the background first because I really want to splatter some underglaze on here and get it really nebula looking, and I know a toothbrush is easier, but I don't have a toothbrush, so we're using an old brush. It still worked just fine. I then was looking at the pig and I was like, what if it's actually an alien pig, because the tail was really long and kind of looked like a monkey tail. So I painted the pig green like an alien, and then I added these cute little planets on the background to fill up the space, and I'm actually going to add some gold luster stars to it as well. And I also thought the pig looked pretty plain, just green, so I added these spots, so now it looks a bit like a chameleon, which is fine. I just think it's a cool groovy alien pig now that's eating alien space corn, having a really fun time in the planets. It just went really off track. I definitely think that this piece would still look really cute with like a corn backdrop and then a plain pink pig, or even like a brown pig. It would just be so sweet, but taking it to this magical imaginative world of it being a space pig floating through the air eating corn, I just thought that that was so cool. Once I had fired it with the glaze, I then brought it out and added some gold luster stars just to really complete that magical whimsy intergalactic scenery we have happening on here. I really love my space backdrop. I think I did a really good job. Like, I love the dimension and the dynamicness of all the different colors and the splatters, but the planet spacing looks really cool, and all the stars, I'm really happy with this one. I think it looks really cool, a bit goofy, a bit playful, but still really fun and interesting, and hopefully an inspiration piece for people to sort of think about things a little bit differently, not to paint it as they think it should be painted. So really happy with the results of that one. Mug 11 was our one that had the reaction in the mold itself. We had this really gritty sandpaper style texture on the outside, so I had to spend a bit of time cleaning the piece up to get it nice and smooth for painting. That is what I do anyway with all the pieces, but this one was a complete surface refresh and refurbish, I guess. And then once that was done, I mapped out this checkerboard print. Now that actually took a long time. I actually measured all the checkerboards out so that they would be somewhat symmetrical and evenly spaced out. And this checkerboard print was inspired by people suggesting that I should do like a quilt-like pattern, and then someone actually sent me through a sketch of like a pink and yellow checkerboard. So I took inspiration from that and combined the two to get this really groovy floral design. I really like how this turned out, and I don't think I could have picked a better design for this piece, just because it is so straight and clean lines, and I think that this design really enhanced the shape of the mug. I really love the coloring, and I definitely want to make some more of these. A really basic and fun design. It took a lot of time. The ones that are basic are always the ones that take the longest, but I really like it. It's a really effective design for this piece. Mug number 12 is the one I thought was a lidded mug, but is actually a goblet. And this one, I am kind of leaving the onus onto you, is one that I painted on the live stream, and I got you guys to select and pick all the glaze colors. So this was the shot I was taking during the live stream that you guys saw me setting up for, and these are the colors you picked. You guys said that you wanted some like brown and honey yellows, and that you wanted it to kind of look like a hot chocolate on the inside, but like golden on the outside. And then that idea developed to it being like a Hufflepuff colored piece, and to be honest, was not vibing with these finished results. So I actually went through the decal book and box again and found a little badger motif like a Hufflepuff's emblem. So I popped that on there to really give it like that Hufflepuff look, and then found these gold ones to really give that golden cresty kind of vibe. I don't know, to be honest, I was really enjoying the decals, and I was just grabbing stuff and just adding it without even really planning it. I don't love it. I don't love it, but I think it is cool and a really cool experiment. If you're at the pottage, please don't pick this one out. It will I don't know. It's just not what I would have chosen. If you like it, I'm so happy, but it wasn't my proudest work, but definitely a lot of fun getting you guys to choose the adventure. It was a lot of fun seeing where you went with that. So thank you so much for joining that live stream. I'll definitely be doing more in the future. Mystery Mug 13 was the one that grew on me. It was the one that I didn't like the shape of, and then as I held it, realized how nice it was to hold, and I popped this one up for your suggestions, and so many people had some good ideas, but then someone said it looks like a lava lamp. And then as soon as you said it looked like a lava lamp, I totally saw it and was like, we're doing that. We're doing the lava lamp idea. So I'm doing these rainbow sort of blobby globby things on there, and then the bottom ring is like that little base part of the lava lamp. It's obviously missing that like cone top, but just imagine like there's a cone top on top. I fill in all the bubbles, and then to make them sort of look really cartoony and dynamic, I've added this like white reflective line to go around the curve, and then I've outlined everything in a bold black to really make it sort of pop off the piece, and also to differentiate all the blobs from the green background. I popped it through the kiln, and this one is so groovy. A really cool idea. I'm really impressed with your imagination, because I did not see it as a lava lamp and now I can't unsee it. I would love to do some more colorways of this piece in different styles and different blob shapes too. I think would be really cool. So thank you so much for that suggestion. It was great and I love how this one turned out. Mug 14 was our enamelware cup, where we had that big handle that went above the lip, but it looks like a camping mug. And I said that it looked like a really cool old tin can. It would be cool to decorate it like one of those vintage tins. And I didn't even think of a Milo tin, which Milo is an Australian chocolate drink. It's very traditional and nostalgic, and something you can still buy obviously, and it is just a part of Australian culture. So when someone suggested the Milo tin, I was like, of course. So I painted it the Milo green, and part of the Milo branding colors is a yellow, so it's kind of like the green and yellow. And I thought I'll add some flowers in the backdrop, and I nearly actually did these white daisies, and I was like, no, why am I doing that? Why wouldn't I do an Australian native flower, and a flower that is the same colors as the Milo branding? So I did a golden wattle design with some big flowy leaves in a speckled green. This piece I can imagine in so many different tin variations. Like, I'm just thinking about every single tin I have in my cupboard. I also like the people that said about doing the pop-up tomato soup cans, kind of inspired by Andy Warhol. I think that there's so much potential for this piece. I just thought I had to do the Australian nostalgic, most noticeable design first, but I definitely want to try doing some bushels tins and also some other variations of maybe tomato sauce and beans and spaghetti. I think it will look so cool. So I'm excited to paint a couple more of this one. I do really like the results of this, and I can see a series of this one happening and people making their own tin can variations. Last but not least, we have our bull that we need to grab by the tail. I was a little bit daunted by this one because I was like, oh, I don't know how it's going to feel a bit flat if I paint it brown, and I don't really know what colors to really make it enhanced. And I had a few brown mugs already, and then someone sent me through an image of a rainbow cow, and I thought that is perfect. So I painted the backdrop as a pink, and then added purple, blue, yellow, and green in this flowy sort of like abstracty, I don't know, like flowy, furry pattern all over the head, and then also did the little tail, and then I did the text on the back in the same colors as the furry texture I did on the front. I am so glad that I got the opportunity to ask you suggestions for these pieces, because so many of them you guys had ideas that I hadn't even thought of or imagined, and it just opened up a new world of opportunity and perspective for these pieces. In particular, I don't think I would have come to this rainbow cow idea. The lava lamp one was a really big standout for me as an idea. Very, very cool stuff. Which one is your favorite from this week's video? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. It helps me out so much to continue doing this. If you liked this series, please let me know in the comments, as I'd love to do another one with like platters or bowls. Otherwise, I will see you next week for the pottage renovation footage and showing you these mugs in their new home. I'll see you then.